Hello? I can't hear anything. Y'all are dancing. Can you hear me?
I hear you. Are you malfunctioning again?
I think I heard you. Y'all are dancing? There's no music. What are y'all dancing for?
There was music.
Oh, I heard no music.
Oh yeah, there is music. Welcome everybody to Wednesday Night Race Chat Live here on Fan for Racing Radio. Joined by my co-hosts as per usual. We have Mr. CJ Sports of the 110 Nation and the Caution Flag Racing Radio, Chris Creighton. Chicagoland, return of Chicagoland. I think this is the first year we had the next gen cars on Chicagoland Speedway. There are parts of the race where it kind of was iffy a bit, and then towards the end it started to get interesting with the last set of green flag pit stops. Tire management a little bit, which drivers prevailed and which ones didn't. Of course, there were the heavy favorites to start the race that ended up finding a way, having some sort of trouble towards the end of the race, whether if it was spinning into the grass, Kyle Larson, or Tyler Reddick kind of having more mechanical issues. Chase Briscoe, the Brisket boy, gets one. Gets his win. First win of the season, actually. Hard to believe with the momentum that they've been on, but at the same time, Joe Gibbs as an organization, Toyota as a whole, has been pretty strong and highlighting all of that. Good to see Chase Briscoe get one to kind of change things up a little bit at least on the Gibbs side of things. So we are getting ready to line things up for Chicagoland. Brandon Jones, the winner of the O'Reilly Series. Thoughts on the race weekend? Start with you, Chris.
Yeah, what a weekend that we had. It was a sellout crowd over in Chicagoland, a return to Joliet, Illinois for the first time since 2019. I heard it was kind of a soggy weekend, but outside of that, it was definitely something that I think it was a pure success, right? Sorry, Mr. CD Sports, you kind of cut me off. I was in mid thought there. Outside of the soggy weekend, I think it was a success with the crowds, the excitement. We had a really good Xfinity or O'Reilly Auto Parts Race Series race. I don't know if you guys caught that, but man, oh man, you couldn't have thrown a blanket over them there at the end. It was really the cautions kind of dictated that one. You would have thought Chase Elliott would have won. Junior Motorsports apologized for not giving Chase Elliott enough to get the win. But Brandon, I don't think that really that had anything to do with it. I think Brandon Jones just really wanted it more. And we've seen Brandon Jones for a while. Not a star stud driver for sure, but definitely a consistent 1 or 2 wins a season kind of driver. And he saw the opportunity in front of him and he took it and he drove the hell out of that race car and had a fast super up underneath him and was able to capitalize and bring home a win, which I've been one of the ones screaming, I'm tired of seeing Junior Motorsports win every week. It was good to see somebody else get the win. One thing that I do want to take note about the O'Reilly Auto Parts Race Series is we've had a lot of Cup drivers that have been racing in the series, but they're not winning. And that's, not what we're used to. I think back in the day, it was mostly won by Cup drivers who were dropping down and racing the weekend or possibly chasing the entire season for points. But it seems to be that these guys actually have a competitive edge over the Cup drivers because they drive these cars consistently. It is a difference in the cars. We've discussed that here so many times before that the O'Reilly Auto Parts Race Series car doesn't match the same skill set as those of the Cup Series, and I think that somewhere in that we've evolved these. These lower series drivers and adapting to their race car better than what a cup driver can step into. So, I mean, I'm not going to beat up Chase Elliott because he didn't win. He's just not used to being in that kind of race car, right? I mean, we watched Brent Cruz get into a cup car and, break the transaxle. I'm waiting for one of these cup guys to get into one of these O'Reilly cars and burn out a transmission, but it's just something to take note there that I think there is kind of a leveled playing field now with the difference in the car. If we could take anything from the fact that this car doesn't relate to the cup car, what we can say is that the drivers who race this series are more adaptive to this car than cup drivers who are dropping down. And I feel like that is finally the separation that we needed to make sure that these cup guys don't come in and invade and take away from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Race Series. It's where names are made, and that's what they've campaigned on. So the last thing you want to do is have cup guys come in and steal all the victories, right? Because you don't make any names when you don't win first place. And I think that that's where we stand right now with the O'Reilly Auto Parts Race Series.
See, I know we've always talked about this, and I know it's always going to be an ongoing topic, subject to talk about when it comes to the lower series with the Cup guys. Personally, I like having them in the lower series because when these younger drivers who are trying to reach Cup, they're going to have to race against these guys. I know Mr. CJ's all against this nonsense or whatever, but in my opinion, you're gonna race against these guys. So the fact that you're gonna race them, some of these guys like 5 times a year at the very most in this sort of series, you're going to have to face that sort of stiff competition. And you're going to have to face them on a weekly basis when you get into the Cup Series. So why not kind of, develop your sort of competition? Yeah, because each Cup driver gets 5 races.
I get that, but then multiple drivers do it, so no, they're not just 5 times. It's almost every race there's a Cup guy in it.
No, there's a few exceptions. The Chase, they're not allowed any Cup guys, and I think their Dash for Cash races are not allowed to have them.
Okay, so maybe 5 races that they're not allowed to be in. I'm just not a fan.
There's 4 plus the Chase.
I was being sarcastic there, Taz.
Kiss my ring.
Keep it going.
I'm just not a fan of it. But speaking of the Cup drivers in the Xfinity Series, O'Reilly Series, I will always probably call it Xfinity Series. It took me forever to get off the Nationwide Series. It took me forever to get off the Busch Grand National Series. So, listening to Junior talk about it, he takes a lot of pride in those Cup guys being in his cars, and it's a big deal to him, and he puts a lot of work into those. I listened to him talk about it today. I didn't catch the O'Reilly Series race. I'm assuming it ran on Saturday. That was the only day that I've had since the beginning of the lawn season where I was off both jobs. So it was, but I still had the third job. I still had the honey to do job. So I didn't catch anything on Saturday. Great race on Sunday. I started right out the gates and kind of continued on. A lot of things that I'm sure we're going to get into. I was rather surprised by the attendance. I know that was a question, and we was talking about that, the 4th of July weekend race in Chicago and how that was going to play out. I was rather impressed at how many people actually showed up and came out to the race on the 4th of July weekend. Especially it being a night race and knowing a lot of these people had to go back to work on Monday morning. So I was rather impressed with that. Great action, but looking forward to get into these conversations. What do we have? 7 Toyotas in the top 10? I know BK, he's getting aggravated and wants Ford to step up. Junior believes that Ford and Chevy is starting to get in the right direction. 7 out of the top 10 cars were Toyotas. I don't know how much in the right direction there are. But
It's funny you mentioned that because Denny Hamlin said that Hendrick in the Chevy camp is starting to slowly figure it out. I'm not sure if the Fords have figured it out. I think the only one that has figured anything out at all this season is Ryan Blaney.
but everybody agrees that if anybody's going to figure it out outside the Toyota camp, it's going to be the Hendrick team. So we'll see. And there's also a conversation, and I know we've talked about this before. I don't know if it's just a general conversation or people starting to get aggravated, but because how well 2311 and JGR together, it's almost like you have a 7-man team out there. I see that. I see that frustration starting to kind of be more of a conversation. Like and everybody kind of
almost like Chris predicted this years ago when 2311 was starting to become a thing.
Everybody feels that Hamlin's one kind of, but he's on both of them, so that's going to be your person that's going to intertwine it all to get everybody to be on the same page. And I know that they talk about 2311 pays good money to get that information and that stuff, but are we going to allow super teams to be created, or are we going to put some kind of barriers on that? But anyway, I'm going to save my thoughts and things that I want to talk about until we hit the actual topics. But great weekend for NASCAR, great race. And I think that they're working on going back to Chicagoland. I think that I heard them say, whoever the new head of CEO, whatever, talk about they want to come back to Chicagoland. So hopefully if we get some more race action like we saw this weekend, that we do.
Yeah, to bounce off of what he has to say there, I don't see why we would go through the whole process of going back to a racetrack after being dormant for 7 years and not go back again next year, because that's a whole lot of investment to get that track going back again. Of course, there was some issues early on about the asphalt and whether or not the track was going to be able to hold together. They did some patching. They did great. It looked good. All in all, I think a day race would have been a lot more fun to watch because they would have had a lot more slipping and sliding. We've mostly seen night races become what they were.
Yeah, that was brought up. That was brought up in the junior download, talking about they wish it would have been earlier race because of the heat in the track. It would have been better.
Oh, absolutely. We'd have seen a lot of slipping and sliding going on. We would have seen, guys who were having to back off through the corners and stuff like that because they were just going to try to control the race car.
There's a lot more variables in day racing versus
if it was racing. A fifth, we'd all be drunk, right? I mean, so we have to go with what we had there, and I think that the Briscoe win was a favorable win for NASCAR fans. I think that Briscoe is a very likable guy. Martin Truex was not a really likable guy amongst the whole crowd. Like there was the junior fanatics and the old Martin Truex heads that were fans. He didn't really stand out as like somebody that you become personable with. Chase Briscoe, on the other hand, from the time he showed up at Stewart-Haas Racing, he was a likable character. Remember his Kubota tractor?
That's where I was getting ready to go. That's the only thing I like about him is him and Tony Stewart in those commercials.
Right. Like immediately there was a connection there with fans because of his connection, of course. Him and Tony grew up in the great state of Indiana.
I feel like there's a small certain group of drivers that are just marketable at NASCAR, and I think Briscoe is one of them. I think, with you guys mentioning he did the Kubota tractor or whatever, that commercial with Tony Stewart. Then then of course, bringing up earlier, he did that NASCAR versus Navy mini movie or whatever that was on Prime, that later aired on NASCAR's YouTube channel. So I think, I think Briscoe is one of the very small few that is just marketable in just about everything you put them in. I know Blaney's another one. Hocevar is growing into that small circle, but
in some sense he is. Right? Chase kind of fits the mold for a humble driver that everybody seems to like. He's not outlandish character. He's not a smart aleck like Tony was. A brass, cocky, smart ass.
He's like in the middle. He's like in the middle.
He's like a little bit better than Joey Logano when it comes to sociability. Like Joey has the fake smile and the laugh, but in all honesty, they call it
That's just
fake.
racing.
but in reality, that really is Joey. He just becomes a different beast when he puts the helmet on. So that's the Joey that we see and smiling and behind the microphone. That's Joey Logano. But when you get behind the race car, that's Joe Logano. Okay, he's a little bit different character when he puts the hat on. But Chase seems to be a favorable character amongst the fans. Bass Pro Shops, of course. I mean, if you're a NASCAR fan, tell me when you haven't stopped off to the museum and gone to a Bass Pro Shops on your way to the racetrack. If you camp like we do, you're always stopping at Bass Pro Shops because you're forgetting something at home, whether it be stakes for your tent or poles to keep the tarp up, or even a new what's the thing, the bags where you throw the bags in the board, what's that thing called? We bring one. I never play it though. What is it called? Where you throw the little bags in the board?
Cornhole.
Cornhole board. Yeah. Even if it's just to stop and pick up a new cornhole board. Say that
what's
5
sad
times.
Is what's sad is that Chase Briscoe, as
I'm Cornholio. Oh, cornhole. Cornholio. Okay.
Cornholio.
Beavis and Butthead. I remember that reference.
Oh, yeah.
I want to tackle a comment real quick in the chat. Miss Lee said, "Bring back Kentucky." Yes, Miss Lee, bring back Kentucky. Actually, Miss Lee and I met for the first time at Kentucky Speedway, and so if we get a chance to go back to Kentucky, Miss Lee, definitely we will go together. Actually, we need to get together on Mid Ohio as well. I have not been to Mid Ohio. That is in her neck of the woods. I go to her neck of the woods like every other week, and we never seem to meet up. We've met like twice, and then once at the track. But yes, I would love to see them bring back Kentucky. It almost brought tears to my eyes. My we'll call it bachelor party or whatever, but my brother, as a gift before I got married, I got to do the NASCAR experience, and it was at Kentucky, and that as crazy as it was to be out there in the track, and I had the old man, and he laid it down. Like he went faster than anybody out there. I was actually more nervous trying to get my big ass out of that damn window. I don't know how these drivers do it. Man, I started to panic, like, am I going to be able to get back out this thing? But it almost brought tears to my eye to see the state of what that track looks like now versus when NASCAR actually used it. It looks like something you would see in a movie out in the desert that hasn't been used in like 20 years. It was really sad to see, but I would definitely like to see them bring Kentucky back.
Have you seen some of the recent pictures of Auto Club?
Yeah, it's wild. No. Yeah,
it's literally that turns 1 and 2 of Auto Club have now turned into like warehouse property.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I saw pictures of North Wilkesboro before Junior and all of them redid all that. That was,
unless you create an overpass at Auto Club that goes up into the sky and comes back around, there's no way in hell we're ever racing Auto Club again.
Yeah, I remember when Auto Club was supposed to turn into a short track of.
Remember when?
Yeah. Hey, good old AJ. He had his his farewell concert or something not that long ago.
I tell you what, that was a long ass tour because I went to the earlier part of that tour because I'm a big Alan Jackson fan, and I knew that he had that health issue go on, so he did that farewell tour, and that's gone on for like 2 years until it just had the actual final show that they did. But that was probably one of the longest farewell tours I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I remember George Strait back in 2014. That was a really big tour. They used to have George Strait Fest down in New Orleans every year, and so it was a really big deal when George hung up his hat. And I think
he came back out of retirement like 2 years ago because we went to the concert as soon as he came back out of retirement. I don't know if he's gone back in, but we went to the Columbus Stadium where the Buckeyes play and saw him, and there was a whole bunch of acts there. It was Chris Stapleton and a whole bunch of people, but he came back out of retirement.
Miss Lee just made a great comment.
Yeah, bringing back Mansfield Speedway as a dirt track.
I tell you right now, I think I would choose Eldora's on my bucket list, but if I had the choice today to go to Eldora or Mansfield, I think I would just put Eldora on the shelf once again and go out there and because Mansfield is amazing. Like what that guy's put in, I think it was $7 million worth of renovations, if not more. I mean, big screen, jumbotron, and
I
suites and
think they
all. I
just had the
mean,
World of Outlaws there not that long ago.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we were supposed to go to Eldora. It was 4 or 5 years ago, but that weekend it got rained out, and then we never kept up with the rain date. But that just a hop and skip from us. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping that we do make it out there to Eldora. That is on my bucket list as well.
So let's get back to the Cup race. You know, I was expecting kind of a late race caution there at the end. I don't think that we got that. But Christopher Bell, obviously Toyota has found something, and BK kind of made some acknowledgement. We've talked about it briefly here. There's not a doubt in my mind there were 7 Toyotas out of the top 10. Toyota definitely has an advantage. If this was the
Riley
90s,
Herbst again.
yeah, 80s. If this is 80s and 90s, I think that we would continue to hear moaning and groaning from the other teams that they need some kind of help to be competitive. I just don't think NASCAR is going to budge on that right now. And they're allowing Toyota to have its moment. Like, we've seen other manufacturers, Hendrick, dominate, and nothing's ever said about it. So I commend NASCAR for not
It seems like
jumping in.
we go through these phases with NASCAR that Chevrolet will have its run and then Ford will have its run. So it's just kind of the cycle of NASCAR to me.
It is, and like I'm so glad we're out of those aero wars of the 80s and 90s, where every week somebody was crying and complaining in order to get a certain advantage out of their car, when technically they could have even been sandbagging through a lot of that to create those situations. But Christopher Bell just on the outside and finished in second. Of course, Denny Hamlin third. Joe Gibbs 1, 2, 3. William Byron, the Hendrick Chevrolet. In fourth, Alex Bowman, Hendrick Chevrolet in fifth. Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney, Ty Gibbs, and Corey Heim finished just ahead of Riley Herbst. I mean, talk about Riley Herbst and how that makes him feel that, that he's being replaced by Corey Heim next year. But did they pull the trigger too soon? Because it really feels like Riley Herbst is coming along. Like, I know.
I don't feel like they pulled the trigger too soon, because if 2311 kept Herbst, that was going to shoot themselves in the foot for Corey Heim, because Corey Heim would probably dog walk them depending on what good equipment he would fall into.
I know, but isn't Riley Herbst cheaper than Bubba Wallace? And he brings a full-time sponsor. I know we don't ever want to talk about getting rid of Bubba Wallace, the audacity of that. But
isn't Bubba Wallace farther up in the points? Like you're comparing,
for sure.
You're comparing him to Bubba Wallace, who, in my opinion, Bubba Wallace is not that great of a driver, and he's lesser than Bubba Wallace. So I'm not sure where the argument here is.
I would think that Riley would just be a cheaper alternative and bring sponsorship, and
so then get rid of Bubba Wallace. You're overpaying then.
Well,
Bubba Wallace brings sponsorship too.
I feel like I'm knocking on Bubba here, but I don't know. I think to see is a driver who's finally getting it right,
Columbia,
finally starting to move up through the ranks, finally getting some good finishes, and then all of a sudden he's kicked out of the ride and he's going to go to the back, and we're not ever going to see him again. I think Riley is showing that he has potential to be in a top flight car, finishing on the, of course you don't trade the idea of bringing Corey Heim to the Cup Series for Riley Herbst. We've already seen Corey Heim in Victory Lane. We're going to see Corey Heim in Victory Lane again. Is Riley Herbst still a maybe? Yeah, Riley Herbst is a maybe, but so is Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace doesn't have the greatest stats in the world.
A maybe, and he won a race?
He did win the Indy Brickyard last year.
Okay, so there's no maybe. He can too. Herbst is just the only maybe in the group here.
I don't know. I mean, you're talking about.
If Corey Heim has won one and Wallace has won races, then Herbst is the only one at 8. So that's the only maybe in that group.
All right, you got Tyler Reddick, who obviously has 5.
And he's won races too. You just threw someone else in that won races. So all of them are yeses.
Y'all hammering me if you want to, but
get him.
I'm just saying, you got one maybe, and all the rest have won. We don't know that
Okay, so I'm playing Moneyball here, Mr. CJ Sports. I mean, go back and watch the movie Moneyball. You want something that can bring just the amount of on base percentages, just
All
the amount of
Riley is
walks,
doing is
just
supplying sponsorship dollars to this team. He ain't doing
yes.
anything else.
and I'm sure with a win, Corey Haim's going to bring in sponsorship money too.
And it
And
costs
Corey
$10
Haim's
million
going to bring in
a year to run
sponsorship
Bubba
dollars
Wallace.
with his victories.
Yeah.
Thank you for agreeing.
No, I'm still with Mr. CJ over here. You're welcome.
Damn.
Remember,
I tried.
Remember your stand down a couple weeks ago? Yeah, you're almost borderline right there for this week.
Okay. All right. So that's my POV of Chicago. And what about yours, Tasmanian Devil?
We mentioned Toyota's how they dominating. They've won as a whole organization. They're leading the manufacturing point standings by 120 points. They've won 12 out of 19 races, which is batting 63% of the season so far. Chevy has won 6 races, batting 32%.
In baseball, that would be 630, not 63.
Well, 632 technically.
There you go. We're going to do batting average of 632, not 63%.
Field goal percentage. There we go. Chevy, 6 out of 19 races. They're batting a 316. And then Ford is a whopping 1 race out of 19, which is a 0.053 in the batting average. As we bring up to the next topic of RFK's fall from grace, should we really highlight RFK or should we really highlight Ford? I mean, I know RFK was competitive to start the season, and now all of a sudden Ford as a whole is just not there.
Looking back at it though, like how competitive was they really? Like we were on that bandwagon, but they never won a race. I don't know if they ever really was that close to winning a race.
They were knocking on the door because Buescher was there for quite a few times. I think Brett Keselowski had 1 or 2 like really strong races. Priest was top 5,
close?
top 10.
I mean, how close was they really though? Like
I think Buescher was the closest one.
I don't know. I don't know if anybody's really been that close to Toyota. Period. I know there's some Chevy wins in there, but I'm starting to think like was
I mean,
we part of the overhype on the whole Roush Fenway. I know that they had had finished on every lap at one point, and we were all in, and they were good on the rankings. But now that we've had a bigger window here, I mean, how good was they really? Like,
so I'm looking at past races. So obviously Priest won the Bowman Gray Clash. Brad Keselowski was the top RFK guy, 5th, and Buescher 7th at the 500. Going back to, I hate how this NASCAR app freaking works sometimes. Going back to Atlanta, Ryan Priest was the top guy in 9th. So far, 5th is like the best result, but I'm going to have to keep digging right now as we speak. I think Coda, they slacked big time. Yeah, they did, because they weren't even top 10. Holy crap, Denny Hamlin got a top 10 on a road course this year.
I'm starting to wonder, did we jump early too and bid into all this? Like, it looked great, and I bought in too. But I'm starting to wonder, like, did they just have a streak of some good finishes and just stayed out of trouble, stayed on the lead lap? Everybody, was completing races, which is good. Don't get me wrong. And it's something we're going to talk about here in a little bit in the rivalry section. But, I mean, we were talking like number one, and like they were the team, and starting to wonder, did we overjump this a little bit? Because now that we got a bigger picture, like, he's talking a 5th, a 7th, and a 9th, and
Brad
the first.
Keselowski's 2nd at Darlington, so that's the closest they've gotten.
Like that's a jump forward in races. So like,
One thing I know we're not going to get
looking,
to is the fact that Joey Logano led every lap in that All-Star race back a couple of years ago. I mean,
and much more to come later on. Just stay tuned and figure out. Back to you, Chris.
That was so random.
But he was driving a Ford, so maybe that was the last time Ford was even relevant. I don't know.
Hey, Blaney won Phoenix. Shut up.
Yeah. So I don't know. You know, maybe I kind of feel like
Blaney's won two championships, or no, Blaney's won one championship, but should have been two if Giggles didn't.
And I say this with heartbreak, but overrated. Overrated. That's what
Joey
keeps
Logano?
going through my mind with RFK right now. I mean, really, I think we overranked them. We overrated them. They are who we thought they were, in the words of Dallas Green. Unfortunately, we're just seeing the results equal to what they really were. And Brad Keselowski let it be known that he wants a better relationship with Ford. He wants the Ford organizations to share information better. He's kind of kicking at Joe Gibbs and what Toyota has done, but one thing that I think that they tried to
I just found a second place with Buescher and Talladega. So there's 2 second place finishes out of the team.
I think somewhere or another they got this mixed up. That yes, Joe Gibbs. I mean, 2311 is paying Joe Gibbs for this information, but Joe Gibbs owns like all of TRD's information, right? Like that's TRD and Joe Gibbs are one and the same. So, there's people that interlock with both organizations, the entirety of Toyota TRD and Joe Gibbs. And Joe Gibbs, when the takeover happened several years ago, Joe Gibbs controls everything about TRD. So Brad Keselowski was right in a way that, there's a lot of shared information there, and he hopes that other manufacturers take cue to what 2311 and Joe Gibbs is doing. And then all of a sudden they want to come in and kick this thing. Well, we're paying for this information. That's great. Like if the information's for sale, let's buy it, because I'm sure that's what Brad Keselowski would do. Mr. CJ, I see you.
I got a question for you. How do you feel about the sharing? Like the sharing of information amongst these teams, Brad Keselowski wanting to share amongst the Ford teams. Like if this was an NFL reference, or even better yet, we'll do this a little bit better because I know you're an Alabama fan. I'm a Buckeye fan. This would be like Ohio State saying, you know what, we're not making the playoffs, but we're gonna share some information with you, Michigan, so you can beat Alabama. Yeah. Like I could never imagine Ohio State voluntarily share information with Michigan just to align themselves because they're Big Ten to beat an SEC team. So I don't know how I feel about teams sharing information. Like at the end of the day, you guys are competitors. You're not. It's not the end of the day when you go to win that championship. It's not okay. Everybody in Ford is now the 2026 champions. Like no, that's not what it is. It's going to be one particular driver on one particular team. I just don't know, and I know the information helps everybody, and blah blah blah. I just don't know how I feel about this. Like this is not
that sort of information only helps on like Daytonas and Talladegas. I feel like everything else, to kind of back up CJ's point, wouldn't really benefit anywhere because you're not really. I mean, some of the 1.5 mile tracks with this next gen car, yeah, drafting kind of comes into play, but not so much of like where Daytonas and Talladegas, where the manufacturers are kind of, more like the CEOs or the NASCAR people of Ford come in and say, look, all you Fords need to work together to put Ford in the victory lane, and Chevys do the same thing. But every other track, nobody ever talks of like, all right, Fords need to work together in order for Ford to win. It just doesn't happen.
I just don't think, I don't know how I feel about teams working together. Like JGR, you need to focus on you, 2311 on you, Spire on you, Hendrick on you. Not, okay, we're going to team up the JGR and 2311 because we're all team Toyota. Like that'd be like the Cowboys and Eagles we're going to share information because we're the NFC East, so we can be, no, like that's not.
Legacy's doing it all on their own.
Yeah, Legacy nowhere near has the partnership with Joe Gibbs that 2311 has.
I think
and that's
Legacy
relevant.
for the first year or two since switching to Toyota had a little bit of Gibbs backing, not as much as like 2311, but I think they had a little bit, and then afterwards, I feel like Legacy's been like on their own. They're like the redheaded stepchild, but I feel like they're slowly figuring things out on their own. You can see in some of their results. Obviously, Jones has scored some top 10 finishes. I think Nemechek is slowly coming in, and obviously Legacy is expanding to a third car, which seems like Riley Herbst might be a part of, but time will tell. We'll see if that will be his chariot for next year. But yeah, there's nothing in this world when you go into college, like as Mr. CJ said, it's college sports. Like you don't have like two ACC teams teaming up to try to knock out a Big Ten team at all.
Yeah, this is a Denny Hamlin deal, y'all, and Denny Hamlin used this as a selling point to Joe Gibbs.
But BK's wanting the same thing with Ford. Everybody coming together,
But Penske's not going to do that, and Penske's not going to share information because Penske knows better. What is he?
They do with Wood Brothers.
Yeah, but not really. I mean, Wood Brothers is an R&D car.
Come on.
It's an R&D car. It really is. It's a research and development. And
that information gets shared up to Penske what to use and not to use.
And if anybody has a manufacturer's car, it's going to be Wood Brothers, right? So you're right. In a way, CJ Sports, there should be some connectivity because the Wood Brothers is a direct affiliate of Ford Racing. They are.
NASCAR needs to get a grip on this because you already got people upset because you pretty much got a 7-man team that's been dominating all year. And the NASCAR is going to have to get a grip on this, or you're going to start having
Riley Herbst.
You're going to start having NWOs and Generation X's. You're going to start having half of NASCAR in 1 year. Like, come on, like they. NASCAR's got to put some kind of foot down on this because it's starting to get like. I want to see individual teams. I want to see rivalries. I want to see. I don't want to see all Toyotas together and all the Fords together, all Chevys together. We're sharing information. We're going to pat each other on the butt all the way until race 36, and then that's when we're finally not going to play. No, let's.
See, I feel like I don't. See, I know I'm going to talk a little bit more modern, and I'm sure this happened when NASCAR, when you guys were growing up at my age.
Go ahead, throw our age underneath the bus.
But, like, I remember, like, in the 90s and early 2000s, like, none of this whole, like, this team worked with this other team at all. Like, there was no Dale Earnhardt Incorporated worked with Hendrick Motorsports. There was no...
Hell, in our day, teams within a team did not get along and share information.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, Tony Stewart told everybody to go kiss his ass and everything else, but, you know.
What was that, Junior Johnson Racing? I guarantee you, what was that? Dale Waltrip and who else was in the 11 and 12? But they weren't sharing information. They were... No.
Hutch Strickland would have been way better if they did.
Trying to think. I think Ward Burton with can't think of the team he was with in the 22.
Bill
they
Davis?
Never had any Joe Gibbs affiliation at all. They never worked with them. Shoot, I think the only time a team ever worked well together within an organization was DEI, and that was only because Dale Earnhardt was. Only because of Dale Earnhardt's kid, he brought in Michael Waltrip and he brought in Steve Park. And unfortunately, Steve Park's injury set him back, because Steve Park looked like he had a promising career. Michael Waltrip only got his wins because he got lucky and everybody had to back him up. But
But
Outside
remember,
of
at that time of DEI, they had their own engine department, so they weren't buying motors from Richard Childress. You know, you have to buy your motors from TRD. You have to buy your motors from Hendrick or Childress, or you have to buy your motors from Roush Yates.
Don't mean you got to be teammates and be buddies. Like
Right.
keep it strictly business and move on. I mean, like
I
Ohio
like
State and
that.
Michigan all got to use the same football. Doesn't mean they got to share the football all week long. It just means they got to play with the same football.
I love your team analogy. I love that. That just because we're in the same conference doesn't mean we share information to go beat San Francisco, right? Like that makes no freaking sense, and it makes no sense at all for these teams to be treated that way. We've moved into a Formula One style concept, and you're going to pay a certain amount of money every year to run 35th because that's going to be where you are. We already call it this tier racing, right? And teams have used that sort of language
I don't
for
even
many
think
years
IndyCar
now.
does that sort of thing at all. I don't
No,
think
but
IndyCar does that sort of thing at all.
and it's a little bit more, I guess, with IndyCar. They have a standardized car, right? Kind of similar to NASCAR. It has to fit a
Yeah,
certain
but you don't have like you don't have McLaren trying to share with, I think Penske's a Chevy, so like McLaren trying to team up with Penske to go beat
Honda
some
Chevy.
sort of Honda
Right.
team or whatever.
Right. Yeah, Bobby Rahal and Richard Childress were kind of compared to each other today. The only team orders are doing a race. They do not share info. When I was a NASCAR tech, learned fast. The teams are really a race within a race, so to speak. It's cutthroat. Yeah. Thank you for that, Damian Bean. Good to see you watching us. I think that
I just don't feel that though.
yeah,
It can be all true, but I just don't feel that.
Yeah, I think we moved more to that now than what we were in the past, and it is a lot of sharing the information. I remember, watching one of the female racers. I can't remember her name. She was really big, and the documentary was about how she went out there and made a couple of laps for Junior Johnson's team, and she wasn't getting the proper help that she was getting. And so Junior Johnson come over there and said, "Girl, I think you got what it takes." And he looks over at the crew chief, I think Tim Brewer at the time, and says, "Give her the setup." Like, right? Like that was the big deal then. So, I mean, we've shared information to a certain extent throughout the years of racing, but now it's pretty much, SMT data and all this other stuff that they get to share. We know, and we're sitting here, we know that Michael Jordan is paying a premium to Joe Gibbs Racing to be a 7-car team with Joe Gibbs. If Michael Jordan doesn't write that check, then we're looking at 2311 running the same damn laps, running the same type of race that Legacy Motor Club was running, right? It takes that big ass check that Joe Gibbs, this isn't the first round for Joe Gibbs. He did it with Furniture Row Racing as well, but that guy didn't have as deep of pockets as Michael Jordan. So you're right. And I'm not going to argue with you at all with that, Mr. CJ Sports.
Levine
I'm
family
tired of
was
the
in the
team
same,
racing shit.
Levine family was in the same boat as Furniture Row. Because
Right.
Gibbs ran Levine family out the window.
Right, and there's a reason why Stuart Haas got away from Hendrick Motorsports as well. Somewhere or another, Tony felt like even after his championship that he wasn't getting the same quality stuff that the rest of the teams were getting. So that's why they went to Ford.
I think Stewart got out at the right time because I remember him saying, he was saying something about how he got out, he was getting out because he didn't like the direction NASCAR was going in, and being that we're going in this sort of direction, that I think we're starting to understand why he was getting out.
Yeah, from NASCAR altogether or leaving Chevrolet?
NASCAR altogether.
Right. Tony has a lot of excuses of why he got out of NASCAR, and we could have a whole episode on that. But I'm specifically speaking of when he decided to leave Hendrick Motorsports. You go into his championship season with Darian Grubb. He had fired Darian Grubb before the end of the year even happened, and he had invested into his own pit crew members and whatnot to make his team stronger because he knew that he was getting second tier pit crew members through Hendrick Motorsports. So it was very important for Stuart Haas to become a Ford team because then they would finally be able to back their stuff up on their own, where they were always going to be a second tier Hendrick team to that point. And I think the same thing's going to go for 2311. Eventually, Joe Gibbs is going to tap the brakes and he's going to say, "Wait a minute," you know. But I think we've gone a little bit too long in this subject.
The only thing I have left on the headlines here is panic button for Hendrick. Depending on which driver you're talking about, I could say yes, and depending on what other drivers are talking about, I could say no. I feel like in terms of consistency, Chase Elliott, I wouldn't panic there necessarily. If I were Byron, I would say yes, you're hitting the panic button because this was a guy who was winning multiple races, and he has yet to win this year. Kyle Larson, defending champion, has yet to win a race since early spring last year. Alex Bowman had injury problems, but it's seeming like there's a few races as of late in this season where he's starting to come through. I think, as Chris mentioned, I believe it was a top 5 finish for Alex Bowman, who was the last winner heading into this weekend at Chicagoland. So,
it had a really good run, top 5 finish.
Yeah, I mean, props to Bowman, who's obviously fighting to keep his ride or fighting for Cup team to take him if Hendrick kind of says, "Here's the boot."
She has to make her appearance every week.
We just got tailwind. But
every week she gets up here and makes her appearance.
But I would say a little bit as we're kind of closing out the regular season and heading into the chase where every point kind of matters. I mean,
right.
I think the only consistent driver out of that camp is Chase Elliott. Larson's been hit or miss, but he has yet to win. Byron, I don't know what's going on with him this year. The fact that we haven't seen him win at all this year is kind of surprising with where he's been the last 5 years or so. And then, of course, we mentioned Bowman with his injuries, but I think Bowman's starting to catch on and be a little bit more competitive.
Yeah.
But I think it's a little too late for Bowman to ever do anything. So I think at this point, Bowman's just kind of going for broke, nothing to lose, other than trying to keep his seat.
Yeah, I can see alarms going off. I can see sirens buzzing over the Hendrick shop right now. First of all, you just have to wonder, did Larson bump his head at Indy? Like, what's going on? Like, that guy has not been the same. What I think we forget is he won the championship without a doubt. He was the most consistent driver in that format and won a championship. But we have not seen, the Kyle Larson, the dominant Kyle Larson in a couple of years now. And I just don't know if maybe he didn't bump his head too hard in Indianapolis and we just didn't know about it, right? Like there was a time where Jimmy Johnson was dominating and then it was like a switch just shut off and all of a sudden he was a mid-pack driver. And we all go back to that Pocono wreck of, whether or not that changed his career. I'm not going to seed any doubts or suspicions that he may be, dealing with some ongoing health issues or even that he may have rung his bell a little bit too hard in Indy. And we just, haven't really, there's got to be something though, right? I mean, the guy's just not as good, right? Is it that he's gotten too complacent? That's the beginning of the alarm, right? The second alarm is William Byron, right? William Byron was on this trajectory last year that, he was coming into who we thought he was going to be. And William Byron was going to contend for championships now. We've seen a downward shift for him. Now, all of a sudden, he's not even consistently in the top 10. As you said, Taz Taylor, the only consistent driver that's been consistent has been Chase Elliott. And for several years, we racked on this guy that he didn't understand and couldn't race the car that he was in. So I'm not sure if you got a guy who's maybe coming to his own and finally figuring the car out. That's great. But these other two guys, they had already figured the car out. So there is a panic button going on over at Hendrick Motorsports. I think that going into 7 races left to the chase, they're going to be making some changes and fast. I expect them to be more consistent. I expect to see better runs from the Hendrick camp. Rick's going to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, to get these guys prepared to race for a championship once this chase begins. And sorry, Leanne is she's such a camera hog. I mean, she's always trying to get up and be talked about it. Leanne, do you have anything to say about Chase Elliott? Do you have anything to say about Kyle Larson? No, she's no comment right now. No comment kitty right now. But so get down, baby. Yeah, go ahead, CJ.
Go ahead, Mr. CJ. Panic button for Hendrick
I gave you a chance to talk, but you didn't.
I don't know if you really be in panic mode when, would you say, 12 out of 19 races, Toyota's won. Like, it's just Toyota's time right now. Like, you're still competitive. You're just not getting the wins. Nobody else is getting the wins. If you're not 2311 or Joe Gibbs Racing, you're not getting the win. So I don't know how much of a panic button you want to hit at this point. It's not just a Hendrick thing. It's everybody but that 7-team organization thing. So, I'm not worried.
Miss Lee asks Chris, is she true black or chocolate?
Oh no, she's Maddie Black. She's got a little bit of white right there on her chest and all, but that's Leanne. She's our baby. She's our only female. She's our baby. She's about 13 years old, 12, 13 years old. So yeah, she's a senior kitty. Thank you for asking. She's always the one that gets up here and tries to put herself in the. And I asked her if she was camera shy, and she quietly said, "Yeah." So yeah, she was a little camera shy, but it's okay. We'll get her to talk one of these days. But yeah, like I think, of course, that when you're in competition and you expect results, and Mr. Hendrick's going to pull no stops to get them back into competing for a championship. It's really crazy right now that Spire Motorsports has 2 wins on the season and Hendrick Motorsports has 2 wins on the season. I think that's but then you look at the dominance, as Mr. CJ Sports said, over Toyota, and Toyota's just having his day, right? And so there's probably not much they can do. I did see Miss Lee made some comments, or Fan for Racing, Miss Sharon, that Ford had a new body coming next year, so they're not really investing in anything this year.
I mean, there's good news.
We've heard.
There's going to be a time that Chevy and Ford catches up, and we're going to be back to an even playing field. Then another manufacturer is going to have his advantage and is going to have it and got to figure it out before everybody else. But, right now, Toyota's just got it figured out before everybody else, and that's just what it is.
If you watched Actions Detrimental last week, Denny Hamlin said, look, we're the one manufacturer that hasn't changed anything. We're running the same nose, the same body that we were given, and that's why we're good, because we haven't changed anything. And you know what? I mean, I can't argue with them. They haven't made any changes, and they've gotten it figured out. And Chevrolet keeps making changes. Ford's made a couple of changes already. So I'm right there with what Denny Hamlin said. I mean, they're being consistent because they figure something out, and they haven't changed it every other year. So I give them credit for that. Kudos to Toyota for creating something and sticking with it and getting information on how to make that car better with what they have, instead of Ford and Chevy continuing to try to make better noses and better body pieces to be more competitive.
Boy, what a crunch there, Mr. CJ.
Oh, I tell you. It could have been a commercial there.
Seriously. All right.
Is it a Pringles
I thought
commercial? Once
no,
you pop
it's
the
Lay's.
can, stop.
I thought I was muted. I ain't ate since like 10 o'clock this morning. So
All right. So I think that kind of brings us to our next point of our show, which is known as Chris. You want to hit the jingle?
Stat of the day. Stat of the day. Here comes that what? Stat of the day.
bop, bop, bop.
Yes.
All right. The 110
Nailed
Nation
it.
Sports Race Chat Live Stat of the Day presented by Fan for Racing and Blog and Radio. Chase Briscoe scored his first victory of the year and led a season high 51 laps. He has a victory in 3 straight seasons. This is Briscoe's first win at a 1.5-mile speedway. Wow. I know. Stat of the day. Stat of the day. Stat of the day. Here comes that what? Stat of the day.
Bop, bop, bop.
Yes.
Hold on. Miss Sharon, if you can post that one, the picture, the screenshot of Dale Jr. and Denny Hamlin, if you can post that real quick before we get into under the what? Hold on. I know I'm just kind of throwing this on Miss Sharon here, but I sent a picture. I wanted to know you guys' thoughts real quick.
Something with Dale Jr.
Yeah, Dale Jr. and Denny Hamlin. Yeah, I sent it to Fan for Racing. It's a screenshot
I'm
of a
surprised
tweet.
you would put a redneck Jesus with a hamster next to each other. I didn't know redneck Jesus adopted a pet.
Hold on. Here it is.
Oh, we're working on it. Here we go. All right, let me get my snacks ready. You know, I gotta prep myself, hype myself up for it. All right, what do we got?
Oh, I like the way that she's going through the process here.
I thought it was. Wait, is it there?
There it is.
Oh yeah, look at Chris's got. What has Chris got here? I was driving my 2017 Traverse today, and the transmission took a she. Had to call a tow truck. Losing a trainee after 9 years sounds like you're driving the wrong brand of vehicle.
Oh, okay. Now we're going into the next segment. Sorry, guys. Just wanted y'all to see that right
Next
there.
segment is our weekly watch list
Toyota guy.
with Miss Sharon.
Oh yeah. What's coming up? That's right. My bad. No, my own show, man.
How dare you skip over
shit.
that segment?
I swear.
Oh, let me take this down.
Hello, Miss Sharon.
Hello.
So she was telling me about she was at Chicagoland.
Round of applause for Miss Sharon for coming on our show. Thank you for having us on your program for this week. So,
right.
Oh my. Yes, thank you guys. You hope you're doing well. And the watch list for this week always starts with Monday nights at 8:15 p.m. Central Time. We have our NASCAR Hot Topics Sound Off, where we review the races from the weekend of racing. We go series by series and discuss the race results, the point standings, and any hot topics associated with those series. And there's always something to talk about, I'll tell you that. Tuesdays is interview day. Wednesdays, if it's Wednesdays, it is
Race Chat Live. Race Chat Live.
Every Wednesday. Every Wednesday at 6 o'clock is Race Chat Live, and that's Central Time. And these guys cover it all from under the hood to the weekly standings, the 3 S's. They got the whole thing covered. They talk about the race weekend before, the upcoming race weekend, and everything in between. So a really good show there. And Thursdays, you can start seeing our previews come out for the upcoming weekend of racing. Jay and I have completed all the previews, so those will probably be out mainly on Thursday. I'll put the cup out on Friday. And then Friday is
Fantasy report.
That's right. So Taz, Reed, and I sit down and give you some thoughts starters for your fantasy picks for the fantasy games that you're playing for the NASCAR Cup Series. So that's a great way to end the week. By the way, I love it. And and then of course we have the racing over the weekend and. Uh, we're right back at it again on Monday night at 8:15 p.m. Central Time. So that's pretty much our show for the week. We do have a couple of articles. I was at the track this weekend, so I put up a couple of articles. If you go to fanforracing.com, you're going to see that we are going through a migration. I have been running that website since July of 2011, and we hit the end of the road there. So I had to migrate over to a bigger server. And until that migration is over, we are posting all of our articles over at fanforracingradio.com. So check out our articles over there. I did talk to Parker Retzlaff this weekend and got some feedback from him. Also, Reed put up an article, and all of a sudden I'm brain dead. I can't think of what the article is. Oh, about Tyler Reddick's struggles. He's also got an article up about Corey Reed or Corey Hine. So check it out.
All right, everybody, round of applause for Miss Sharon.
Thank you, Miss
Round of
Sharon.
applause.
Okay,
Round of
thanks.
applause.
You guys always make me smile. Okay,
Thank you
take
for
care,
allowing
guys.
us. Bye.
All right, everybody. Well, that was Miss Sharon with her weekly watch list segment. We want to thank her for having us on her platform, or as Chris likes to call it, borrowing her car. So we can do our shows and talk to you folks, the listeners, the viewers. But hey, without further ado, as we enter our second hour of the show, let's go. What's all this? What's all this, guys? What's all this?
What is all this? What is all that?
We're under the hood.
Would you look at that? Would you just look at that? What is that?
What is this?
What is all this?
What is all this? I don't know what it is.
It's not a turbo.
Oh, boy. Controversy and deep dive discussion of some of the biggest topics this week. Update on the NASCAR season bracket challenge, at least on the Taz's in-season bracket challenge up to this point. Current standings as we speak. Sharon has taken over sole possession of first place with 210 points. Reed is 20 points behind in second. Chris is third, 30 points behind. Then it's Lee, myself, and Hunter to round out the field. However, there are three of us that still have their predicted champions still alive. And those three are sitting third through fifth in the points right now. I have predicted Ryan Blaney, who's still in it. Chris predicted Denny Hamlin, who's still in it. And Miss Lee also predicted Denny Hamlin, who's still in it. Hunter picked Suarez, who was eliminated back at the 30-32, eliminated by Zane Smith. Sharon had Tyler Reddick, who was also eliminated in the 30-32 by Carson Hocevar. And Reed had Kyle Larson as his champion, and he was just recently eliminated back here at Chicagoland in the Super 16, I should say. I'm trying to see. Reed has 2 of his final 4 still standing. Sharon also has 2 of her final 4 still standing. Hunter has 1 of his final 4 still standing. Miss Lee has 1 of her final 4 still standing. Chris has the most of all of us, 3 out of 4 still standing. And then I have 2 still standing. Actually, no, I have 1 still standing. I somehow missed that little spiel. But I have 1 still standing in my bracket for the final 4. But yeah, that's what we got. Let's take a look at the updated bracket of what's to come for this week out of the Taz's in-season challenge bracket. Michael McDowell edged out Kyle Larson. I have the results. All right. Larson finished 34th to McDowell's 29th. McDowell will take on Alex Bowman, who defeated Zane Smith. Bowman finished 5th to Zane Smith's 28th. Bubba Wallace beats out Carson Hocevar with a 6th place run to Hocevar's 22nd. AJ Allmendinger lost out to Ryan Blaney. Dinger finished 17th to Blaney's 7th. On the other side of the bracket, Hamlin beats out Ty Gibbs by 5 spots, 3rd versus 8th in the finishing order. Cole Custer finished 31st, lost out to Ross Chastain, who finished 18th. So it'll be Chastain against Hamlin. And then the bottom right corner of the bracket, Chris Buescher eliminated, finished 19th to Austin Cindric, who moved on and finished 13th. Chase Briscoe, who won the race at Chicagoland, beat Eric Jones, obviously. Jones finished 15th. So as we head into Atlanta for the Elite 8, we have McDowell versus Bowman. I think this one's in my opinion, I think this one right here is the matchup of the week. Or it could be Bubba versus Blaney. I think the left-hand side has a better matchup deal versus the right-hand side. McDowell with Atlanta being a super speedway style racing. I know McDowell's kind of a super speedway racer. Bowman, depending on his day, does very well. Sometimes does not. But Bubba Wallace and Ryan Blaney have always been super speedway racers, so that's a good matchup there. And then the other side, Hamlin is not as strong at Atlanta versus Ross Chastain. He's just strong no matter what in super speedway races. Cindric, I know with Fords and the super speedway style racing, they're going to work together and find a way. Chase Briscoe, I think he struggles a little bit on that side. So I think the highlighted matchup here for this week would have to be either Bubba versus Blaney or Bowman versus McDowell. Who do you guys think of this current bracket reaches the final 4 after Atlanta? We got.
Go ahead. Go ahead there, CJ.
I think it's going to be Blaney and Bowman and Hamlin and Briscoe.
All right. I'm going to go. Some tells me Spire might lock in. But I'm going to go with my favorite driver, Bowman on this one. I'm going to stay with my predicted winner, Ryan Blaney. So I say Bowman and Blaney face off, and then I could see an upset here. Chastain over Hamlin on this one, and I might have to do the flip coin of Cindric over Briscoe.
Yeah, so the only one that I really see, McDowell is a hell of a plate racer, super speedway racer. So Bowman's really good too, but I kind of would give the nod to McDowell over Bowman just off of what we've seen of late, even though he is coming off a good finish. McDowell kind of feels like the underdog story that you always get in the Final Four. Of course, wrecks or anything can happen and completely change all this. One thing I don't want to do is jinx my guys by picking somebody that's not there. So I think I have, I think I got Ryan Blaney. I think I've got Denny Hamlin. And who else do I have left? Taz, you said I got three of them, right? Chase?
You had Byron in your final four, who was eliminated. So you still have Blaney, Hamlin, and Briscoe standing.
Blaney, Hamlin, and Briscoe. Yeah. So I'm not gonna square from those guys, being that they are all in my top three. I will go with McDowell over Bowman.
Alrighty, so there's our predictions for the Taz's in-season tournament bracket. Of course, all the picks for the Elite Eight count as 40 points if we get them right. There's not a lot of room for points left. I think Chris has this shot of getting the most points when it's all said and done. But like I said, there are three of us still with our predicted champions still standing, as everybody else's champion has been eliminated. But and predicting the champion correctly is 160 points, just in its own right. So three of us have that opportunity to get that and propel ourselves up the leaderboard. So that's an update on the in-season bracket challenge. Next part of this discussion is points racing with just 7 races to go before the chase. Do we feel like there's drivers locked in, even though they're not officially locked in yet? Do we feel like, I would say let's kind of look at the bubble, like which drivers should we, who's in the outside looking in that'll probably make it in, and who's going to get cut from that wire. We'll start with, I guess we'll go with like 12 through 18. Byron holds the 12th spot right now. Bubba's 13th, SVG 14th, Hendrick 15th. Jones holds the final cutoff spot by 4 points over Ryan Preece. And then Joey Logano and AJ Allmendinger are tied in points for the 18th and 19th spot, and Brad Keselowski's 3 points behind both Logano and Allmendinger. Any drivers that could possibly fall out? Any drivers outside looking that are going to probably propel themselves in? I think Mr. CJ is going to get ready for this one.
I can't remember the other name other than Jones, but the last two, I can see them very easily falling off. There's a lot of good names right there, right outside the bubble. I think you named off like 5 of them that are really good drivers, and I can see any one of them finding their way into this playoff. So I think the last 2 are the 2 that really need to watch how they race and make sure that they maximize on all the point opportunities. And those first 4 or 5 outside of the cutoff, I think that you're going to see them maximize or try to maximize on every opportunity. I think we're going to see one hell of a run here leading to this playoff run.
Yeah, and I'm looking, Eric Jones has 411 points. He's 16th. You got Ryan Preece. He's only 4 points back. 16 points back is Joey Logano. I think that he's tied with Allmendinger. Then you got Brad Keselowski, who's about 19 points back. And Michael McDowell, that's 31 points back. I'm seeing Ross Chastain. As I look towards the top, the only shakers that I could see that may fall are guys like Shane Van Gisbergen, maybe Austin Cindric. But I think a couple of the tracks that we're coming up on with Austin Cindric, that actually kind of favors him in some of the upcoming racetracks. So, it would be kind of hard to see those guys. Of course, Bubba Wallace, he's kind of a question mark. He has won at Indy though, and that's one of the tracks coming up. Plus, he has wins at super speedways. It really feels like we may have 1 or 2 changes. Eric Jones may not be solidified in that position. What I like is we're talking about the 20 top drivers here, and oh man, of course it would go away right there as I was trying. Brad Keselowski's only 19 back, right, from being outside the top 16. Allmendinger, Joey Logano, we already said 16, and Ryan Preece 4. I, I could see two guys moving up and two guys falling out, right?
So currently, right now, as I just did the math, if I did the math correctly, so it's 55 points for a win. I'm correct on that part, I do believe. Or is it 50? I want to say 55. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. And then you got your stage wins, which is 10 points apiece. Then, of course, you have that fast lap bonus point, which is 1. So really, 76 points. Last place is only a point. So really, there's a 75-point cut between, like, in terms of like maximizing how many points you can get in a race versus the minimum. With 7 races left, so you're talking about a 525-point swing. As of right now, if I did my math correctly, from 30th on down in the driver's standing, so Noah Gragson, Josh Berry, Ty Dillon, Cole Custer, Connor Zilich, and Cody Ware do not have a mathematical chance of trying to even reach first place. They are still mathematically in the hunt for the chase part of it. As Cody Ware sits last place 35th with 248 points under the cutoff. Right now, nobody has been locked in as Hamlin's 357 points above the cutoff. But however, with drivers that are within that one race swing, which I guess you could say 75 is that point, is that one race swing to work with. SVG, Austin Cindric, Eric Jones, those 3 sit above the cut line. SVG is 30 above, Cindric 27, Jones is 4. And then under the cut line, you have Priest 4 under, Logano and Allmendinger 16 under, Keselowski's 19 under, McDowell 34, Chastain 36, Zane Smith 62, Riley Herb 63. We could probably say Gilliland is just barely in that reach, being 76 points under. Everybody else is either at least one race above or below. So there's that 14th through what I just read up, 23rd. That could change any given week at this point. With some of these tracks that are coming up on the schedule, what do we have? We have Atlanta, which super speedway style racing always changes things up. North Wilkesboro, short track racing. You know, Joey Logano, short track racing, guys. Then we got the Brickyard. Iowa is I guess you could say a short track that kind of runs like an intermediate style of racing. Richmond, short track where Austin Dillon is looking to go 3 in a row. Then we got the boring, bland New Hampshire, and then the finale at Daytona, which again, super speedway style racing likes to change the game. So if I were these drivers from 14th through 25th, how would you treat these 2 out of these 7 races, knowing that literally anything can happen at any sort of lap?
Yeah, I think if I'm Joey Logano, I focus on top 5 finishes. The problem with 16 through 11th or 12th is top 5 finishes, and if you can consistently break into that top 5, then you will force somebody out. As I said, I think there's 2 or 3 guys that are maybes, and then pretty much a lock for the rest of them. Shane Van Gisbergen, Eric Jones, and I maybe I'm wrong for this, but I kind of feel like Daniel Suarez is kind of in that maybe. Like we could see a really, 7 races is a lot of races. That's a lot of points. If going off of what you said, if it's 50 points available, 7 times, that's 350 points. that can shake some things
just in a
up.
win alone without stage points.
Right, right. So that's a big shakeup there. There's a lot of available points out there to push ahead of some of these guys. I think that pretty much if you're outside of the 21st place, you're probably not going to have a chance to make it in this far in. But you know, there's obviously a couple of superpower teams like Joey Logano, and then there's the feel good team too, AJ Allmendinger. Like there's a couple of tracks here that favor AJ Allmendinger, including Indianapolis and Atlanta this week, and also
Daytona.
Daytona. So, you know, we could honestly see those tracks circled for somebody like Collie that says this is where we get maximum points, and we go out and we try to win some stage races and try to.
How about Hayek with Ricky Stenhouse Jr.?
Yeah, Ricky's where sitting where Taz. Where's Ricky?
He is
at?
currently sitting
22nd,
26th, 81 points back. I mean, he's
yeah,
a little
that's
over that one race cushion, but
right.
super speedway racing, and you got 2 of those coming up.
Those guys are in the top 16. They're consistent. That's why they're in the top 16. So, as I said, if you're not a super horse team, superpower team like Penske or what is one of these other guys, even RFK, you know, I think both of those guys have slidden out of the top 16 here in recent weeks. I didn't hit this up when we had the opportunity. Ryan Priest does not seem very happy right now. He seems kind of aggravated at maybe what's maybe going on over at RFK. He said something in a press conference about the comfortability in his race car, and I think that those. I just wonder if this isn't tied to not actually having a charter for them. But either way, we're talking about the point system. It's going to take some falling and it's going to take some rising in order to shake it. I did take a screenshot though of what the top 20 looks like. Well, 6th through 20th. And so we can compare it, I think, in another, 3 races. We'll come back in 2 or 3 races, and we'll see if there's been much of a change there in what we've seen in this race. So we are documenting today, and we're going to come back to this subject in about 2 or 3 races, and we're going to look at that point structure again and see if anything's changed. How about that, Taz?
Yeah, it seems about fair because I think at that point we'll start seeing drivers either locked in or won't have a shot at all. Like I said, everybody still is in that mathematical window of being in versus out. I just think that actually, Chris, I'll send the Toby Christie standings graphic that I was kind of looking at to help this out.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I think right now the drivers, as I mentioned, that 14th through 23rd, I guess you could say 24th if you throw in Riley Herbst. Oh yeah, Todd Gilliland too. So 25th, like you want to bring your A game because if you have a terrible race and any one of those drivers win, that gap just shrunk like nothing. Or that's like I said, one race swing, and anything can happen. By the looks of it, I think Hamlin's got like 2 or 3 races. Reddick's got like 2 on him. Blaney probably 2, but yeah, I think coming back to this, in like I say like 2, maybe 3 weeks, we'll start getting a better, clearer picture to see what drivers are not going to be in the top 16, which drivers will be going for a championship in the last 10 races. Just right now, everybody's still mathematically in it, no matter what. I think the one driver I would like to see in the chase, but I think he may struggle with some of these races coming up, is SVG.
Yes, that's a big question mark, and Eric Jones as well.
Sharon just pulled up the Toby Christie graphic.
All right, there you go.
But yeah, right now my biggest question is SVG with no more road courses on the schedule. Is he going to be able to find a way to stay up there? I think there's a couple races that fall with McDowell. I know Atlanta coming up. I think RFK's really got that one circled. I think that one's a night race, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. And being it's an Atlanta night race, I know RFK, more so Buescher and Keselowski run very well at Atlanta under the lights.
Mhm.
So I'm sure RFK as a whole have this weekend circled to make up some points, especially for Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, I mean, Brad Keselowski and Ross Chastain are two guys to watch, and also Eric Jones, because this is no fluke by Eric Jones. They really got a good thing going. We'll see if he's able to rise or fall. That's one of the guys I really want to highlight in a couple weeks here is Eric Jones and where he may rise or where he could fall. So it's going to depend on a couple of good runs. We know when you get to Darlington and other tracks like that, Eric Jones is going to be good. But can he put himself in position to get there? Because I think Darlington is the second race of the chase. So
yeah, Southern 500. I would love to see that get a win for Legacy.
Yep.
I don't know if we have any final comments on this, but if we don't, we got a special little thing coming out here. Chris knows where I'm going to go with this. Ding, ding, ding. Ladies and gentlemen, you're
and
boxing
in the first corner.
in the white corner. Over here to, I guess you could say my right, or left, whatever it looks like on your screen. We have the Kiwi SVJ, who
The Kiwi.
he liked to spin Austin Hill into the wall, just by doing a little nudge.
Austin Hill? Never heard of her.
And then you got in the red corner. In the red corner, you have a guy who used to be on an animated series known as King of the Hill, Bobby Hill. If you remember him, that's what Austin Hill looks like. The son of the propane, the son of the propane man.
Damn it, Bobby.
Oh, you got that dead on. Oh my God.
That was my show, man. Damn it, Bobby.
Austin Bobby Hill in the red corner, who likes to call SVG. Apparently, he watched our show last week because he called him Shane Van Guggenbergen.
Oh, Lord, yeah. Yeah, that's a feud of the week. SVG got a little payback there on Austin Hill, I think, from what happened at Coronado. Obviously, you guys thought that it was SVG that caused the incident. Obviously, he felt like me. It was actually Austin Hill that caused the incident. So it's good to know that somebody had my back in that argument, including the driver that was caught up in the wreck. But anyway, there's another feud of the week, too. But Mr. CJ, I'm going to pass it to you.
This was discussed on the Dale Jr. download. I don't know if y'all listened to it, but I haven't listened to it today. They feel that the playoff format, this whole point system that we went to, is help creating these rivalries, because now the points matter more. It's not just you win, you win, you're in, and it don't matter. Every race matters now, and I think we're starting to reap the benefits of this whole playoff system and how they're doing the points, because I think we're going to start seeing more and more of these tempers flare. I think these races are starting to mean more and more as we get closer to the chase. And it was very intriguing to listen to him talk about it today when I was listening to it, and how they feel that this point system is going to help and has helped create rivalries that we've not seen in a long time.
Yeah, we saw two of them this past week, right, guys? I mean, there was another spin. Zane Smith got tired of Hurricane Hocevar and put him on spin cycle there.
What was that even over?
Obviously, that's just the way Carson's raced other drivers, and because it was clear Zane chased him down and punted him. But
yeah,
the difference.
Well, I mean,
go ahead.
I was say the Austin Hill things led into 2 weeks, and that whole he went back on the track and nudged SVG and tried to ruin his day. I think we're starting to see something here between those two.
And the funny part is that Austin Hill's not even chasing for a driver's championship. He's there for the owner's points side of things because of him running the O'Reilly series.
Right. So I don't know. This is the time of season where we need feuds, and I think that this is a cool little segment to talk about. There's really not much to say other than boys have at it. I'm glad that NASCAR didn't get involved. I feel bad for whoever was last that got penalized. Was it Ryan Priest? Who was it that got penalized? Ryan Priest. But just don't say shit over the radio. That's the thing. That's the thing right there. Just don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Make it look like an incident, even if you chase him down the corner and punt him.
So we can't say Shane Van Guggenbergen?
That's exactly what they were talking about on the junior download today as well. Like, just don't admit to anything.
Say anything.
NASCAR will not speculate. They will only go off facts. Like, if they can prove it, if it's been said. So as long as you don't say nothing, NASCAR will not do anything. And that was one of the topics they brought up and talked about today as well.
And short track racing, I completely understand it. If you have a preemptive attack, then you have something that you can basically you got means of a lawsuit, right? I mean, if you allow a certain person that you know is going to go out there and use a 3,500-pound race car as a dangerous weapon, and you didn't do anything about it, there's some liability there. So NASCAR's saying, hey, you keep us out of it. You don't give us anything that we can point to you and say you did that on purpose for. I think we're finally getting it figured out, and it's up to us media people to say, hey, you want to wreck that son of a bitch? Wreck that son of a bitch. Don't say nothing over the radio. Don't say nothing in the media center. Say, oops, my foot slipped off the brake pedal. I don't know what happened. Whatever you do, don't admit to your crime, because when you admit to your crime, NASCAR is going to punish you. NASCAR can't assume that you went into the back of Hurricane Hocevar and spun around. They can't assume that SVG was retaliating on Hill. It was a racing incident. Until you open your mouth, that is what it is. And I think that we have a clear line now drawn on what you can do and what you can't do. And boys, let's have at it. Keep the radio silent and use them bumpers, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Look at the mouth. I love it.
Look at his face.
I love it.
Look at his face.
That is the best impression. I mean, outside of the we know who wears the driver's suit. That is
his face is fantastic.
look at the teeth, man. I mean, look at the wide mouth. Oh, that thing's wider than a Grand Prix.
Now you understand why he's called the hamster.
Oh my god!
Now you understand why he's the hamster.
That mouth's wider than a '99 Grand Prix Pontiac. Lord have mercy.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I saw that. I had to get it. Oh my lord. Oh, I got a good laugh out of that.
Well, we had somebody comment there, but it went away. What was that? You never admit to the crime. No, you don't. Like, for real. Like, I suggest if you do something in your marriage, you probably admit it. But Mama said deny. And never. Look, if race car drivers were to admit they're wrong, we would never have to call a caution on somebody, right? But if you don't run the no fault rule and you have to call a caution on somebody, as a race car driver, they're taught, don't admit to your mistake, because if you admit to your mistake, there's a 50-50 probability that they may get it wrong in the tower. So that goes same thing here. Until they make a no fault rule, or until they say no contact racing, just don't admit to it. Keep your mouth shut, stay off the radio, and definitely keep your mouth shut in the media center afterwards. So, and you'll be fine.
Hold on, I got another one to pull up here. We're going to let boys be boys. Let's throw a throwback up here. Oh, I hate that I have to keep resizing this crap. All right, let's hope that it shows. Oh, my name hides it.
Uh-oh. Tony Stewart, is this the
How do we get?
figure
How do we get
eights?
rid of? How do we get rid of the names here? It's covering the caption.
Oh no, can't see it. You make it large, smaller. I think
I
we dropped
can't-
the ball on this one.
The name hide. Oh, there it goes. Look at. Look at.
I'm gonna bust his ass. I'm gonna bust his ass. That's the old Jack Hewitt coming out of Tony. He was trained really well. Yeah, I love old Jack. So I actually announced this week in my announcing. I actually said something about the old Jack Hewitt saying about the squirrels in the back. You know, you race back there with the squirrels, you're gonna get your nuts busted. That's just the way it is. Like that's a good Jack Hewitt. And I also love the where he talks about the guy with the official on the back. He thinks he's got a little power, but
there is a video I shared. It came up. There was a video I shared a few years ago that came up in my memories. I think it came up in my memories like last month or something like that. It was a weekly race with we call them 4 cylinders, but I know down south they call them like Hornets or.
No, they're called Hot Shots, Enduros, Stingers. Now we're calling the SCDRA front wheel drive class. They've had so many different names. Used to be called the U cars.
There was a. Oh no! Please don't tell me I deleted the video. I thought I kept it. Don't. If I delete this video, I'm gonna be very upset. I know I had it. It had the best quote on here. Oh, and I got it now.
Me too. Toe Van Wilman.
It was something about fight.
Yeah, he is out and ready.
Fight in the
go.
pits.
No. Yeah.
Something. I gotta pull it up here.
Look at that. Yeah. I mean, you got Ely going really hard after.
Anyways, it was a 4-cylinder wreck where it was been going for like 3 weeks or whatever. These two brothers gained up in this one driver who was beating them. And they had to, they had to take him out in order for them to win. Well, the one driver took one brother out, and they ended up fighting on the track in turn 2, mind you.
Listen, you never condone those kinds of things, but.
The announcers were kind of given some wonderful quotes of inspiration.
And then Kerry Hollenbeck got into his rear bumper and sent him up the racetrack on the final lap for the win. So he had already had 2 minor run-ins with the Hollenbecks last week.
I got the quote coming up here shortly.
What's that saying? You fight in my pits, you're suspended.
You fight in my pits, you're suspended.
You'll be fine.
You fight in my front stretch, you'll be fine.
Well, this is the back.
You fight on the track. They got nothing for you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, we always say you fight in the pitch, you get thrown out, 30-day suspension. You fight on the front stretch, you get $100. So, but I don't think we paid out the last time we had a fight on it was on the back stretch, so we were able to weasel our way out of that one. But anyway,
ours was towards the back stretch too, the one I was referencing to.
Our track owner got involved into that one, so there's a great picture out there of our track owner. Yeah, so I'll have to pull that picture up soon. Look, we're crunched on time. Let's speed this thing up a little bit, Taz.
Prime Video wants more NASCAR races. Current deal set through 2031. Should Prime make a move to purchase more races? I think at this point, yes or no.
Oh, of course. I'm all for Prime. I think they should write the check, man. Write the check, whatever it may, even if they simulcast and they share the partnership with the TNT or with.
I was gonna say, isn't TNT like the national TV portion of Prime? Isn't that what we come?
It feels like it. I mean, it's the same. It's the same guys. So yeah, I mean, let's add 10 races, right? Let's get Prime in for 10 races, or even NBC's always willing to make a deal. Let's take let's take on the whole second half of the schedule. No, I'm not ready to get rid of Fox yet. I think Fox has their don'ts. They have where they fail us, but they also they spend a lot of money in NASCAR, and so I don't want to take Fox off of their time. I love Mike Joy. I love Kevin Harvick. Clint Boyer's all right. But I think that just they focus more on IndyCar because NASCAR has, kind of uh, outgrown what they spent a lot of money on NASCAR. I think that really comes down to what they've spent on NASCAR versus their return. It may not all be Fox's fault.
Mr.
But yeah,
CJ.
I want to see Prime invested.
Oh, I hope we didn't lose Chris there. I think we lost him mid-sentence.
Can't hear you, Chris.
Mr. CJ, should Prime make a move to purchase more races if they want to expand upon what they already have through 2031?
Hello.
Oh, hey,
Yeah.
there's Chris.
Can you guys hear me?
Now we got
Yeah.
you.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Si, senor.
I can't hear y'all.
Here it go. No, the technical issues come back again. Mr. CJ, yes or no of Prime wants more NASCAR races. Current deal set through 2031. Should they make a move to purchase more races if they want more?
I mean, I like the coverage, so I would like to see him get more. Whether or not anybody else is willing to give up any, that's a whole different ball game. But I wouldn't mind seeing him get a little bit more coverage.
Alrighty. Well, while Chris tries to figure out whatever technical issues he now cursefully brought back, let's go into 3S's standout, shout out, and shout down. 3 names that stood out amongst the rest of the previous week. We have our own. We'll be able to bring forward without discussion. First things first, I want to do a shout out to, I had it in the cup results here. Shout out to Christopher Bell and Alex Bowman. I know Christopher Bell dealing with healing with his broken wrist. Struggled the last couple of weeks, but came out with a second place finish. Probably could have come away with the win if he had a few extra laps. And then, of course, Alex Bowman, top 5 result. Despite the weak start he's had to the season, I think those are kind of like standout shout out. Either way, they would work. My shout down. Trying to think what my shout down would be. I guess shout down. You know what? I'm gonna kind of shout down. I'm going to shout down Chase Elliott, and the reason why is because he apologized. Like, why are you apologizing for a good result and you lost to a top-tier ride in the O'Reilly Series? There should be no reason why you should be apologizing at all for not winning a race.
Yeah.
So there's my standout, shout-out, shout-down.
My standout is going to be NASCAR for getting it together with those pull ropes to pull Kyle Larson out of the muck. I think that we have finally found a way to get these cars out of these compromised positions, which is, that's good for the fans, as, they don't want their driver to go down a bunch of laps. It was hard for Kyle Larson to recover. He had more issues than just getting stuck in the grass. He had a hard time getting it going. I think he had to get pushed off, which messed up the diffuser underneath. But all in all, shout out to NASCAR. I love innovation. I love fixing problems that we find ourselves in. Shout out to Riley Herbst, another good finish. Keep your head up, brother. I know that your time's going to run out. I wasn't ever really a Riley Herbst fan, but he's got such a goofiness about him. I think I kind of like him. After watching him on Door Bumper Clear a couple of weeks ago, my wife and I have actually had a funny laugh about him. He's quite a little character there. So I've grown to kind of like me some Riley Herbst. And shout down
like 11 herbs and spices.
Yeah, I really do. I like the kid. I think he's good for the sport. And he comes from a racing family. Everybody tries to dog on him like he's got all this money and stuff, but everybody in NASCAR has money. That's why they're there. His at least his family is a racing family, a lot like Haley Deegan, but Riley has come a long way, and he's actually won in the series. And now I expect him to do well with what he's got in the Cup Series. But shout down would be Kelly Earnhardt. Like, I mean, you just admitted on with Jeff Gluck that y'all dropped the ball on getting that charter. Y'all thought $2 million was too much to pay, and you used a lot of excuses there. But the one thing that you did admit, and I'm glad you finally did admit it, that you made the wrong call. You underestimated the charters, and you had a chance to get in the sport to go take junior motorsports to Cup racing, but you were too scared to spend the $2 million that it would have taken to get into it. And now it's going to cost you $100 million. So shout down to Kelly Earnhardt. Look, I love Kelly. I love the Earnhardt family. But if anybody's rode the curtails of Junior, it would be Kelly. And I know that Junior would probably not ever talk to me, and he would call me an idiot. But in reality, Kelly may be a good business manager for Junior Motorsports, but it's always been about, we don't want to spend our own money. Dale Jr. is worth $350 million, right? What was $2 million to buy a charter and to make sure that you had a place in Cup racing? I know hindsight's 2020. I'm just glad that it was finally admitted. Shout down to Kelly Earnhardt. You missed your opportunity to bring Junior Motorsports to Cup, and you missed it, and you probably will never get there now. So because it's going to take a lot more than $2 million to get into Cup racing. Mr. CJ Sports.
All right, my shout down is going to be Austin Hill.
And for love of Dale Jr., here's a Mater sandwich.
Austin Hill is going to be my shout down. 2 weeks in a row.
What was that?
I don't know.
We can't hear you.
I hear him just fine.
I'm unmuted. My shout out is going to be Chase Briscoe. I'm going to see him victory lane. Glad to see him have the finish that they had. And my standout is going to be Joe Gibbs Racing and Team 2311 to be able to put this super team together right underneath NASCAR's nose, and NASCAR not dare do anything to them, so they dominate the entire year. Stand out, credit. I applaud you.
It's like watching Marvel Endgame.
Like you're doing it right in front of their face, and they're not even doing anything
about it. I could hear what he was saying.
He's doing a standout to Joe Gibbs Racing in 2311 for putting together a super team, and NASCAR ain't doing a damn thing about it. All right, so that brings us to our weekly poll question, which is posted on the Race Chat Live page. I do believe, Chris.
It is.
Do you have that ready for us?
Yes, give me 1 second. All right. So the 110 Nation Sports Race Chat Live weekly poll question presented by Fan for Racing blog and radio. Will Hendrick Motorsports recover from a season-long slump before the start of the chase? Now, we've already sent that out into the interweb, and we've got 78% have voted yes. Hendrick will recover from a season-long slump before the start of the chase. That's 96 votes already accumulated. And 21%, which is equal to 27 votes, has voted no. So for the most part, 3/4 of the fans believe, yes, Hendrick will get it turned around before the start of the chase. I just don't know. I just really don't know.
I don't know. There's only one driver that makes me hope for it, and it's Chase Elliott. The other three, they haven't been consistent enough for me to say yes or no, for that matter. But yeah, So we head into the long run, the upcoming week in NASCAR. All 3 series are running. The major series are trucks are at Lime Rock Saturday, 1 o'clock start time. And then also Saturday night, the O'Reilly Series runs Atlanta. And then the Cup Series runs Sunday night. I think that's a 7 o'clock start for Sunday for the Cup race. Yep, right there. ARCA runs in Atlanta Friday. Do they run Atlanta or do they run somewhere else? I don't. I know Trucks is at Lime Rock for the
rallies there. Right.
All these late races are just crazy to me. Like, I remember a time it was like 1 o'clock.
Did you say is O'Reilly Racing in Atlanta?
No, ARCA.
Oh, I'm not sure where ARCA is. I don't know. Maybe Miss Sharon can.
Oh, I see it on the bottom. ARCA's at Lime Rock with the Truck Series.
Oh, okay.
So ARCA will run Friday at Lime Rock. Trucks run at Lime Rock Saturday. O'Reilly and Cup are down south in Atlanta. Both O'Reilly and Cup will run at the night time for Saturday and Sunday. As you can see with the schedule posted above, those are the times of the racing weekend between Atlanta and Lime Rock. Remember, ARCA Trucks at Lime Rock, Cup and O'Reilly at Atlanta. I and Chris brought it up in our pre-race discussion. Are we going to keep seeing Atlanta be a super styles race track, or are we gonna see, or are we kind of falling out of it, and maybe we'll eventually see glimpses of the old Atlanta before the repave? I say repave. I know they're going to say reconfiguration.
Right. Yeah.
I say probably give it about. I say about 2 or 3 years. I feel like we're getting like the old. We're kind of getting glimpses of like the old tandem style drafting, where we're getting packs split up, not one big group like we were seeing when Atlanta first got the repave. I don't know if you guys have any opinions on it.
Well, yeah, I think that we're seeing the slow evolution of the super speedway idea going away. As I said in the pre-race, pre-show, I feel like we saw more of an older Daytona style the last time we were at Atlanta. It's going to be a night race, though, so I don't know if this is really the one to judge. The track's not going to be hot and slick like it was. But also, that was a really, really cold Atlanta race in March. Or February, whenever it was, I think it was like the 3rd race of the season, wasn't it? But yeah, it was cold then.
I think so.
Bitterly cold
Colder
with high
than usual.
winds, I believe. Yeah, with high winds and all. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what we see here. Who's y'all's favorite? Like, who do you think's going to win? And then we'll go on to.
Something tells me with the slump they're having, and Brad trying to be the flagship of it all, something tells me Ford's going to knock on the door. I know the last few years, the night race of Atlanta, Ford comes alive. RFK specifically, I feel like there someone with Ford and RFK is gonna stop the Toyota train this week.
I'm jumping on the Ford bandwagon as well. I'll say Ryan Preece.
All right, Ryan Preece it is. Mr. CJ, any predictions for the Cup race Sunday? I think
I'm gonna find the unmute button. You want to make no mistakes. No, I'm excited about what this weekend is going to bring, and I'm hoping to see some Fords and some Chevys make themselves known as we get going into the getting closer to the playoffs. Anyway. So that's what I'm hoping for. I want to see going into the playoffs. I want to see a little bit more diversity. I don't want to see Team 2311 and JGR go into this playoff with all this momentum and just kind of steamroll through it. So I'm hoping that we start to see some momentum from some of these Chevrolet teams, if it be Hendrick, and some of these Ford teams, if it be Penske or RFK, and let's see these playoffs be something of interest and continue on what the season has been like for us.
Alrighty. As we close out the show with our weekly segment of Taz's weekly NASCAR team rankings.
Who did CJ pick? I'm curious. I couldn't hear him. Who did you pick?
I don't think he picked anybody in general. He wants more diversity.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's what he's looking for.
All right. I was interested.
Sharon, I have the share screen pop up ready to go for the weekly rankings. For the Basement 5, no change from last week to this week. We have Rick Ware, Haas, Wood Brothers, RCR, and Front Row from 15 through 11. Like I said, no change from last week to this week in terms of the bottom 5. Any comments from anybody before we kind of move on?
No, they are.
I kind of feel like it's kind of like the same story at this point.
Yep. On to the Rising 5.
We move into the Climbing 5. This is where we start seeing a little bit of change. Hayek and Colleague swap spots. Colleague improves to number 10, or improves to number 9 from 10. Hayek falls down to 10 from 9. Legacy and Trackhouse stayed dormant at 7 and 8. RFK falls down 2 spots from the top 5 in the number 4 spot, and they sit in the top spot of the Climbing 5 at number 6.
Yeah, I think we're.
Dang, I wanted Chris's thoughts, but he cut out mid-sentence again.
Yeah, because I don't hear nothing. I like what we're seeing in the rankings. I agree with the RFK. I think it's something we discussed a little bit earlier, whether or not maybe we was a little too much hype on them. And now we're looking at the big picture. Yes, it was all legit in our assessment at that point in time, is that's what they were doing. But now with the bigger time frame, it's just not looking as impressive. So I'm good with that. Colleague moving up 1, that's good. So I like what I see in the Climbing 5.
All right. Hopefully we get Chris back on before the end of the show here. We move into our top 5, where we have the most movement of them all. Spire drops down 3 spots from number 2 to number 5. We got 2311 moving up to number 4. Hendrick moves up from the 6th spot to their highest ranking of the season at number 3. Team Penske moves back up to the 2 spot. And then, of course, Gibbs staying dormant at number 1. Any thoughts here?
Yeah, who's at number 3?
Hendrick. This is the highest ranking they've had all season.
I liked it a lot better when they were at 5.
Isn't that your favorite team there, Chris?
Yeah. I can finally hear you. People keep calling me and somehow it knocks me out. So I'm sorry, y'all. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Yeah, no, that's I hate Hendrick. Come on, 2311. Let's get back up there. Can I hear Taz?
You got me here? Uh-oh.
Can I hear CJ? I can't hear neither one of you guys now. This is great.
Geez Louise.
I muted myself instead of unmuting myself. I want to see Spire do something. I want to see Spire work themselves up out of that bottom 5th spot in this group. 4th or better is what I want to see Spire. I want to see them be accomplished this year and be able to have something really to grow off of and go into the 2027 season with. And I think being top 4 would really say a lot.
The one thing I do want to mention,
Spire could have a really good outing this week.
The one thing I do want to mention is that Hendrick,
great.
Hendrick has been sitting right around that 4, 5, 6, and 7 range up until this point. They finally broke into the podium spot of things. Trying to think, there was RFK hasn't dropped any lower than 6. Spire has not gone as lower than 6, and Penske and 2311 have not gone as low as 6. But I think I am on the same deal as Mr. CJ. I would like to see Spire see if they can bounce back. They sat at number 2 for a couple weeks, I do believe, and they dropped themselves down to number 5. So I would like to see them try to rebound, and I think Atlanta could be a good start. I know Suarez is a good super speedway style racer. Hocevar is aggressive with that sort of thing. McDowell is usually pretty good on this sort of style racing coming this week. So I feel like Spire is in the cards to try to rebound.
I want to see the whole team show up. I don't want it to be Carson Hocevar digs him out of a hole and bumps him up. Like, I want to see a good whole team outing this week.
I agree.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so that will be our weekly rankings for post-Chicago Week 19. Once again, we want to thank everybody for listening, watching along with us, whether you did it live or post-live through however you listen, tune in. Of course, we got to thank our sponsors that make this show roll on. And that will be rolling over to Mr. CJ.
Got to thank Carolina Sports Plus at carolinasportsplus.com. You guys can check him out on Facebook as well. I just saw him posting some stuff the other day, Mario, about looks like they building either a second truck or a new truck for their mobile store. He does a great job with those mobile stores early. Really cool to see once they get them done. He's down in the Fayetteville, North Carolina area. Make sure you guys check them out. McMillan's Lawn Care and Landscaping. You guys can check them out in the Dayton, Ohio area, servicing all the cities surrounding that, if it be Beaver Creek, Tip City, Huber Heights, Vandalia, New Carlisle. The list goes on and on. Make sure you guys give them a call at 937-999-9793. If it be lawn care, landscaping, fence line removals, you guys name it, they'll take care of you guys. The 110 Sports and Collectibles Company. Make sure you guys check them out at the 110 Sports and Collectible Companies.com. They're also in West Milton, Hocking Hills, Lancaster, Logan, and Monroe. Also, the website, you guys can check them out on Facebook for all your sports merchandise in need. And Chris?
Last but not least, that One-Eyed Kid Designs. Man, I mean, his work speaks for itself. Go check him out. Let him design you something really cool, whether it's a wrap on your race car, pit box, maybe it's T-shirts. That One-Eyed Kid Designs. He can do it all, man. Y'all hit him up, and he'll be glad to take care of you. And that's all. That's all, folks.
We want to thank everybody for listening and watching along to Race Chat Live here tonight. With that being said, this has been Mr. CJ Sports of the 110 Nation, the Caution Flag of Racing Radio, or the King of Technical Difficulties, Chris Creighton.
Thanks, Mama Bear.
I'm the Tasmanian Devil of Flaggers, Taz Taylor, saying good night. We'll see you same bat time, same bat place next Wednesday.
Everyone
night.
Be sure to hit that like button and follow. Yep. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.